All right. So, welcome. My name's Renee King, as I was just introduced. Today, we are talking about what's in store for Black and Latinx founders. And we have a very esteemed panel here of different women who have done a variety of things. We're going to jump right into questions. Well, before we go to questions, first, you're going to reintroduce yourself, tell the name of your organization, and like just a quick one-liner of what it is, and then we'll jump right into questions. And then we'll open it up to audience questions. So I'm going to start with you, Jade.
Oh, thank you. Hi, my name is Jade Kearney. I'm the founder of SheMatters, a digital health platform designed to support Black mothers who experience postpartum anxiety and depression through community culturally relevant resources and culturally competent therapists.
Hello, everyone. My name is B. Law. I'm the founder of QuirkChat. Oops. Make sure we're good. We are a video collaborative platform for people who are into geek fandom, such as anime, gaming, and cosplay. Our investors include Snapchat, Techstars, and Black Ambition Fund. So, yep, excited to be here.
Good evening, everyone. This feels like a good old house party, doesn't it? I love it. My name is Felicia Hatcher. I'm the CEO of Black Ambition, which is an organization founded by Pharrell Williams 2 years ago to invest in Black and Latinx startup founders, as well as HBCU students, and really give them unprecedented access to the resources, the funding, and the support that they need to succeed. So, thank you.
Awesome. Candice Mathews Brackeen, CEO of Lightship Foundation. We provide education for remarkable founders from diverse communities. So Black founders, Indigenous founders, people of color, people who identify as women, those from the LGBTQ community, and people with disabilities. So pretty much all Americans. I also am general partner of Lightship Capital. We invest in not only the companies of the foundation, but other companies throughout the heartland and the South.
All right. So can we have quiet over there by the food section? So one thing I didn't say is that my name's Renee. I am the founder. Just let it go. All right. So let's go. I am the founder of Fund Black Founders. By the way, I didn't mention that.
Oh, he wants you to use it because they're recording. They're streaming.
Hi. Renee King, founder of Fund Black Founders. We are a community capital platform for Black founders, Black entrepreneurs. So as you can see, all of us, we've done a bunch of amazing things. I wanted to jump into this first question, which is, what have been some of the most important lessons taken from when someone told you that what you were building was not possible?
I mean, the most important thing for me that I've learned over time is to be a little bit more graceful. And when I get that feedback, realizing that I can do it and that they just weren't ready to give me the proper feedback. And so I've had a lot of people tell me no over time that are great partners now. I've had a lot of people over time have told me no, that we're wrong. So I've just had to focus on my true north and realizing that I was building something bigger and something for my community.
Wow. Does anyone else want to jump in on that?
A lot of people have said that what SheMatters is doing couldn't be done because there were so many logistical things to think about when you're thinking about a community of Black moms, and also healthcare systems. When you hear healthcare systems, everyone gets scared. And I think what has led me toward continuing is that anything Black and female is always met with criticism. So I always think about others who have come before me, paved the way. Even B, I did a Black Girl Tech Day and she didn't know me and she came out and she was our keynote speaker. So I just think about all the other women, Black female founders who were told no. And I just keep going because if Oprah would not be Oprah because they told her she couldn't be on TV because she was big and Black. You know what I mean? So just to continue forward, despite what people say, if you're not criticizing me, I'm not doing something good.
I'll just add really quickly. So I'm in a very white male-dominated space. Like anything with geek fandom, anime, gaming, it's like if you've ever been on a Reddit forum and tried to be Black and cosplay, it's not a fun space, which is why I started my company. And I think with that, it was just always I wasn't geeky enough, or like you're a woman in this, etc. And you kind of just have to really lean in on the community that needs you to show up. And that's what I've done. Like whenever I get the no's, or you don't look geeky enough, or whatever people decide to do, it's like, all right, let me go back to the community and just really focus on building a product for them. And the more that I've leaned in on the people who actually want what I'm building, the more that they've actually become my investors. So it works out that way.
Yeah, I would say the moment that you realize that most of the people that tell you no, you shouldn't have been asking them of their opinion anyways. It changes things, right? So I used to be graceful, and then you realize like you have no authority to be giving me any opinion, nor have you built it before, which I think is the question that most of us don't ask of the people that we ask opinion or permission to, and we got to do more of that. So that was probably the biggest lesson that I learned in that process.
Yes.
I wanted to add something to what she just said, because when I first started SheMatters, I used to think that the white male in the room had so much more knowledge than I did. And I was like, oh my God, what, he's been in this space for so long and he knows what he's doing and I should listen. And over time, it quickly changed when I became more confident. So I really think that the no's are super important because it grows you, right? You grow through the challenge and you really become confident in who you are and what you're building. And then the white man in the room is just another white man in the room. There's many. Not that that's negative, but they just become another white man in the room.
Yes. So I'm going to put this question to Felicia and Candice. In terms of what unique opportunities do you think lie ahead for founders of color in 2022 from the investor aspect or from another aspect if you wanted to take it? But I wanted to give both of you that option.
Yeah, I just think there's more options now. People have had time over the last couple of years to start funds, close funds, like actually start deploying funds. So I think there is more of that. Like that's the best part when somebody's like, oh, I raised a fund, but I also closed it, right? Those announcements are great. So I think that opportunity is there. I think people finally realize that you can't just mentor people. So cash is coming. And people are starting to recognize that Black founders don't just build hair care companies, right? Or shea butter, the shea butter, right? And so there's just, I think, just a realization that we are all out here and we are all not, we're not quiet about it anymore, right? And so as a group, we are all out here together pushing this thing forward. And I think we're seeing a lot more collaboration than we did back in 2019 and before.
Yeah, my mentor, Tony, is almost 80 years old. And I had lunch with her right like a few months into the pandemic. Right after George Floyd's murder, I should say. And she said, I haven't seen the environment or climate like this for Black people since the 70s, right? When affirmative action and all these corporations had 1,000,001 programs to support like Black people in corporate America and helping them get up the ladder. And she's like, to the point where they had programs for the wives. And she's like, her husband was an investment banker. They had programs that helped her husband raise money, right? And so she said, but the point of that is she's like, what happened was there were Black people that understood the moment and they took advantage of everything that was happening in that moment. There were people that paused and kind of hesitated and got the tail end of that moment. And then there were Black people that scratched their head and questioned and got absolutely nothing. And she said, we are in that exact same moment. She's like, I have not seen that again in my lifetime until this moment that we're in right now, right? And so, like Candice said, the money is there. It is there. It is raining Black money. I don't know how long it's going to continue to rain Black money, but it's raining it right now. And so we have to take advantage of that. But I think we have to be asking bigger because we keep asking for the coins, and that's exactly what you get. You get coins. And when you ask for the bag, what kind of bag are you asking for? A trash bag or a multi-million-dollar bag? Because there is a difference. And so the vocabulary that we use, how we go into meetings, it needs to be completely different. And we have to get very specific with our ask and then hold people accountable. Hold us accountable as funders, right? But then hold ourselves accountable to say, when I walk into the room, I fully understand my numbers. I'm going to ask for exactly what I need, and I will not stop until I get it.
Thank you. So do you think, though, I know that there's more money flowing, right? And you have to ask for it. But to add on to that, what challenges do you think remain in the space?
There's a lot of challenges. There's a lot of challenges. And Brian and I talk about this actually quite often, that, a lot of folks made pledges a few years ago saying they were going to invest into funds, into Black funds, Black GPs. And what we realized is that they were doing that into one fund, one time. And so these next funds, we're going to have a big problem with them because lots of those folks aren't going to double down. Facebook's not going to put more money in. Twitter's not going to put more money in. Goldman Sachs, you name it, Bank of America, right? They need to after what happened the other day. But, it's just not going to happen. That's, for me, a major challenge.
Felicia, did you want to add to that? You don't have to. Okay. B and Jade, what does your dream world for founders who look like us, what does it look like?
Yeah, I'd say my dream world is realizing that we can't be our biggest obstacle. And I say that in the sense of all right, we're Black and that's not going to change. So how do we navigate this world to where we can realize that it can be a powerful thing, especially if we come together and use our resources to make it a powerful thing, definitely connecting with the Black investors in the space who are wanting to make the change, making sure that we're coming forward and with our great ideas and not hiding in the shadows of maybe it's not big enough, maybe I'm not there. Trust me, the people who don't look like us aren't asking those questions. They are going there with half the amount of traction that you have and are getting the bag. And that's something that I realized. So I think if you realize it's it's definitely been a struggle, but also just really building the community around you to where you feel that confidence to go and walk into those rooms of you know what, this is what I have and it's good enough and it's great enough and I can do it. I think that's what I want for all Black founders, and take that as you will. I know it could be controversial, whatever, but I think the more that I've leaned into of I can't be my greatest obstacle. I can't change how I was birthed into this world. I need to surround myself around the people who see the world the same way that I do and actually support what I'm doing. Then we can be successful together. So that's my hope for it.
For me, I think that it's similar to what B is saying. We're already a unicorn. If you are a Black female founder in a room with a billionaire, the whole system was created for you not to be there. So every time I'm in a room with 3 billionaires, I'm like, the hardest part has already been done. I beat systemic racism. I beat your education system. I beat your student loans. I beat your, Black maternal morbidity. I'm a mother of 2. I beat not being funded, and I'm currently funded. I beat all of these things, and I'm sitting here with you. So what do you have to say to me? I really, truly feel that. It takes so much to just get there. So when we are there, baby. We are there. So show up as your best self. Yeah.
Yeah, I'd like to see, more Black founders getting more at-bats, right? Not just that first time. And I think it's also important that we start having more conversations about how to spend the money after you get the money. We're having a lot of conversations about getting the bag, but how to spend the bag, how to continue having conversations with your investors so that you can continue getting money from them and from their network. I think that's what's important. I think it's important to have conversations about what happens when it's not going right. We're not having enough conversations about failure. Lots of folks disappear. Folks disappear when they run out of money. They disappear from their investors. They disappear from their friends. So we've got to figure out how to get folks in the right frame of mind, mental health wise, like money wise, helping them to spend their money. Like having a wealth advisor does matter. Having someone around you to help you spend that money in your personal life and your professional life is really important.
One last question, but before I go to it, queue up your questions if you have questions for anyone on the panel. So the final question is, how can we make sure that we are continuing to open doors for founders of color who are just getting started? This is open to anyone.
I think that we have to create opportunities for Black founders to come. So like we might know 6 Black founders who are doing something, but if we don't create the space for us to have conversation about it, then they're just doing something without a network. And I'm so thankful to be, when I did Black Girl Tech Day in New York, she came out no question. It's about building that network and having the conversation so you can start as an early founder knowing like, hey, what does it mean to have a friends and family round? What does it mean to have a pre-seed round? What does it mean to have a safe? Like to ask these questions and talk about all of the things that people get from their family members, from people get from their dad's buddy. We need to be able to give that information to each other in a safe space.
Yeah, we just have to continue supporting each other, collaborating with each other, realizing that we are not in competition, right? At all. I mean, I started going to Black Women Talk Tech the first year and put money in the first pitch competition and invested in the first place winner and the second place winner. $1.5 million. Visual and Femi Secrets, right? And those ladies are making millions of dollars a year. So really what matters is that you continue supporting the organizations that are doing it. I am so grateful and humbled that we are all sitting up here in the cold and you are listening to us. No, that matters. It matters. And when you've got 6 people together, that is the network, and build the network. I started with 11 people at a bar in Cincinnati 6 years ago, and I was not in tech. My life has changed, and it will work for anyone that continues and doesn't let go of that group that you started with, right? Even when they're not doing well, right? In their hard times and in their good times, staying with them. Like we are a village, right? And when you leave here, make certain you know one more person.
We have to continue to share the codes, right? Pharrell says that all the time. Share the codes. It takes nothing away from you, where you're going, your divine steps, if you share the opportunity and the information with other people. I think the other part of that is we have to stop saying general statements of like, Black people don't support Black people or women don't support women, when we literally stand in the rooms of people supporting people, right? Black ambition and partnering with Black Women Talk Tech, right? Lightship Foundation and partnering with like us in a number of, like we literally stand in moments all the time and then utter those words, and it always confuses me. Like I'll never forget, this guy was at Black Tech New York and was like, why don't Black people support Black people? I'm like, dude, what are you talking about? You're literally at a Black Tech conference with all Black people on the stage, with all Black vendors intentionally, and then out of your mouth, you have the nerve to say Black people don't support Black people, and you're literally sitting in support of Black people. And so we have to change that, because the words that we say are important, and they manifest like the negative and the deficit in our community if we keep saying Black people don't support Black people. And like the pie is literally, I used to say the pie is big enough for everyone to get a slice. And my mentor corrected me. He said the pie is too small, because when you eat your slice of the pie, nothing else gets replenished. He said what we need to be doing is eating from the garden, because when we eat from the garden, our consumption actually produces more. When you eat an apple, there are seeds. And when you plant those seeds, you produce more apples. And so we have to stop saying not eat from the pie, but eat from the garden, because we can eat. And then when we eat, we plant seeds, and those seeds produce more and more and more and more.
God. I'm saying, like, I should have gone first. Oh my God. Well, I was just gonna piggyback off of what Felicia said and just say that like 90%, if I had to put like a number on it, of my opportunities have come from other Black women, Black people putting me on. Literally, like my background's in science. I didn't have to talk to anybody when I was working in science. Now I work as a tech founder in a media company, and all of my experiences have been from people who took a chance on me because they were like, you know what? I have this opportunity. I feel like you would be great for it. So I think what kind of helped me, and like kind of like the going back to the question of just like how to provide more opportunities, if you can figure out how to ask like very specific questions, like ask for what you want. A lot of my like things have come from me cold emailing people of like, hey, I saw you speak at this event. You touched on this thing. I'm having this specific problem in my business. If you could give me feedback on this, I would appreciate that. Instead of like oh, can I come pick your brain for coffee? No, no, no. Ask the question. That's how I've gotten investors from Twitter, investors from Twitch, people in my industry, because I ask them specific questions, and that's led to more opportunities for me. So just something tangible. It's hard to follow Felicia, but I just wanted to give that.
All right, so I guess, do we have time to go to some audience questions?
Jordan, are we?
We got one question. Make it good. Yeah.
So, thank you. My founder has a lot of achievements. She's done a TED Talk. She made it into Google for startups. She has a list of one.
Is she standing behind
She
you?
is standing behind me, so I'm speaking. I'm speaking for her.
Okay.
But she's won. Can I not ask my question? I can still ask the question. I'm capable. So my ask really is, with all these accomplishments, still go into the room, still have a hard time getting people to say yes. Long list of accomplishments. So I guess my first question would be, what is it if we're doing wrong, if anything, and what can we do better to make our company more visible with all the achievements that we have behind us right now, but no money? So
I'm going to just speak from a founder's perspective. Make sure before you go in the room, you understand what type of companies they invest in, who's in their portfolio, do they invest in founders like you? Like, do your due diligence before you walk in the room. They're going to do theirs. So make sure that when you get there, you know, like B said, you know what the ask is from them because you know what they do. That was a mistake of mine early on years ago. I just wanted to get money and I went to take every meeting. That's a waste of your time. Who has time? I don't. So you need to make the best of your time and do your homework. And then those meetings will really turn into money. But do your due diligence.
I mean, I think we're doing it with just some level of transparency that wasn't there before. So for lots of VCs, it was a very closed network. You had to have a warm introduction. We've all talked about this plenty of times. We've kind of just like lowered that barrier, let people know what we are actually looking for. I mean, anytime a founder comes up to me, I let them know what the thesis is, right? And we invest after you are making $100,000 a month in revenue, which is a lot of money, right? I may be able to help you at the foundation level to grow your company to where it needs to go, but for now, I'm not going to be able to. So we're just transparent, and we try to teach the tools that you need to get there. So, you know, we do that. Black Tech Week does that. Black Women Talk Tech, Black Men Talk Tech, like all of those groups. I think that's what we're all doing, is we're just trying to teach people the language of venture capital, because we can't fix this issue with just like Black venture capitalists. We actually need to teach you so you can also go get money from other venture capitalists.
Yeah, I would say it's for everything Candice said, as well as bringing people who aren't usually in the VC and angel space, that can be funders, right? That we often overlook. And so we are overlooking grandma and her friends that can pull together 10,000 here, 10,000 there, and be able to be your friends and family around. We're not having enough family conversations, and we just assume that all Black families are broke. And that's unfortunate that we think that way. And it's unfortunate that we're not educating our families to become our seed money, to become our friends and family round. Our churches can play a big role, and people aren't tapping our churches into, like, churches will raise a like roof building fund in a Sunday, but we think that they can't invest in our businesses. Our churches are our largest landholders in Black communities, but we're not talking enough to them about how can you invest in startups, in the capital that they already have and the equity that they already have in communities. Celebrities, getting more of them. And I know they're the shiny thing that people go after, but you'd be surprised how many of them want to be in this space, but are looking for a safe way to be in this space. And we can do our role in like educating them. And then the other part of that is bringing Black VCs good deals. And Brian said that the other day, which was a snatch edges moment on Twitter. And I know, like, I can't even see you, but I see you. But like, I know some people came after you, but there was so much truth in that, right? When we talk about the not enough like Black people in the funding capacity, but then everyone brings, especially white VCs, will bring you the charity case. And I don't say that in a bad way, but they'll send you the person that is not even qualified at that moment to have that conversation with you. You take up all your time mentoring, and we got to mentor our people. But then if you are in the funding space, you also have to have returns. So you are looking for good deals. And so bring your Black funders good deals. Because when you do that, we then have more money to spread across people in the very early stage, ideation stage, and then at the later stages. And we have to be able to like have that conversation, because we don't have enough of that conversation, and your funders are stretched thin so that they can't even give you the time that you need when you're at the level to receive funding, because we're being asked to do all these other things that are not in the capacity of the organization or the venture fund at that moment. And so we just have to have a whole breath conversation about what that means and be top of mind of bringing good deals to the people that you ultimately want to fund you. See them with some good deals first and continue to do that.
Okay. Thank you so much to this panel.